One has worked across a range of genres and is known for getting the best out of his actors. The other got his start singing in a church choir and is known to sing no air out of tune. Now, if you were thinking EGOT winner Mike Nichols and R&B singer Chris Brown, well, no, not them. Mike Nichols is a theater actor, singer, and entertainment critic from upstate New York. And Chris Brown is a podcast host from Alberta, Canada, who recently saw the movie A Quiet Place and thought there was too much dialogue. Together, Mike Nichols and Chris Brown talk about the entertainment industry as two people who aren't the people you are thinking of only can. This is No, Not Them. Michael, how are you?
You can't throw these at me with I can't. The Quiet Place was too much. I'm like, I can't scream in the middle of this, and all I want to do is scream because that's fucking good. Like, murders me, like hits me right there, and I'm like, fuck, and like I can't just like stop this because then it takes us 8 years to re-record the intro because we can't stop laughing.
Well, we can't stop laughing now, but oh my god, that had too much into talking. I had to turn it off halfway through because I was like, girl, I'm done with this.
Really? I thought it was an incredible movie.
Well, I saw
Emily Blunt was... Oh, you didn't finish it, did you?
No.
Oh, well,
it had too much.
Then we can talk.
It literally had too much dialogue in it.
Shh.
Exactly. Too much dialogue.
I don't know. I think it was pretty incredible.
But how are you? How's life? How's liberty? How's the last month of entertainment news been for you?
It's been a quiet month. I'm going to be real. We were talking about it. Like, there's just not been much going on. And I honestly think it's because so much of the Hollywood people are all watching these Oscar movies they have to vote on, just like you and I have been, because it's been quiet.
Which is a great segue into if you're tuning in for the Oscar predictions this week, sorely mistaken, we will be releasing those the Friday before the Oscars. So March 10th, please tune in. I think it's March 10th because March 12th is the Oscars. So March 10th, Friday, our Oscar predictions, and we'll be going through every single category. And hopefully by that time, we will have seen every single movie, short, documentary, performance, lack thereof performance in some of the categories, and I'm looking forward to that because, as always, we have an ongoing bet who's the better pick at the movies. Now, with not a lot of Canadians, I won't be picking all the Canadians this year because I actually want to win this year. So There's
quite a few Brits.
There is a few Brits, so I might be going with the Commonwealth just to support my king. If you want, please tune in on March 10th. That'd be greatly appreciated. But we have some big stories that we want to talk about this month because that's what we do. Monthly, we talk about the big. Yeah, exactly.
Big is a loose term here.
Well, it's big in the sense that let's start with the biggest thing that happened in the month of February, and that is the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, or as the gays would like to call it, the Rihanna concert with men playing soccer or football, from time to time. So did you watch it? Because I watched like 10 seconds of it and I said, wow, there's a lot of no movement going on in this halftime show. I can just watch like a baby crawl, for fuck's sakes. What'd you think?
Whoa. Rihanna can do no wrong for me. And for people who felt that it was not super energetic, my first question is, have y'all seen Rihanna perform? She don't do all the like Beyonce dips and twists.
Oh, doesn't she?
And I think no,
I've never seen her perform.
Yeah, that's her style. It is more of like that, like R&B. And we had a couple of years in a row with like Shakira and J-Lo and Beyonce. And like, so people are expecting that, but like Rihanna's not that. Like, hers is a much like chiller vibe. Like, and I think the dancers around her, she made a good decision having them. I'm a little bummed there wasn't a cameo of anybody, but I also kind of think that's a cool power move to do.
Well, and that's what, she did have a cameo, her baby bump.
I mean, yeah, I guess that can be counted as a cameo, but
Were you shocked at the no guests this year? Because last month we talked about this and you were like, I hope she brings out Britney Spears. I hope she brings out X, Y, and Z. Were you like, was it that big of a shock for you?
It wasn't. Like, I wasn't surprised that she didn't end up bringing anyone out, but at the same time, I was a little like, because we were so used to it. We were used to celebrities doing this.
Were you shocked at the music choices, the song choices? Because a lot of people I saw in social media after it was, why didn't they sing this song? Why didn't they sing this song? Why didn't you start with the song that everyone knows? And I'm like, I know like 3 of her songs, and well, like her very first song that made her big, right? I forget what it's called. She didn't sing that song, and everyone was like, why didn't you sing?
People don't know, Bitch Better Have My Money. I feel like that's a very popular song. I feel like
Hi, I'm Chris Brown. I don't really care about Rihanna that much.
You said other people also. Like,
yeah. Because they thought they were gonna get the classic Rihanna, right? Not the new. I don't know.
That is classic. People went in very like, and this is
it's welcome to 2023.
This is society. Everybody has an opinion, and their opinion is right, and everyone else is wrong. And so they saw this going a very specific way, and when it didn't go that very specific way, they don't like it, which is fine. People, you don't have to like everything, but like, to say she didn't do hits, every song she did was a hit. Like, was a popular song, every single one she did. No, it was. It all was considered pop. Like, that's her popular music. She didn't do any weird deep cuts.
It wasn't Westlife, so I don't know. So unless it's Westlife, I don't know music or country.
I enjoyed it. I felt that it was really interesting. It was different, just like last year's was different. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like last year's.
Who was last year's?
It was like Missy Elliott and Eminem.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's when
Eminem, that like mega mix rap thing. And like, I like Missy Elliott.
But you weren't a big fan of last year's. And I think it's in the eyes of the beholder, right? Not everyone's going to like everything that every artist puts out. Like, I guarantee there are people going, well, why didn't they bring back the Rolling Stones? Well, because they're probably in walkers right now and they're doing something with like Depends adult diapers. Who the fuck knows? I don't. So everyone's going to complain about something. Hence why we're doing this show. We complain about things because that's what we like to do. But the big... Go on before I segue into my next topic here.
No, I just was annoyed by the people kind of like bitching about, well, she was low energy, like she wasn't up there with a baby, like fully pregnant. Like, and like, I loved how everyone was all the like older folks on my timeline were like, this is obscene and vulgar. I'm like, we saw Janet Jackson's titty. Let's calm down. What was obscene and vulgar about this?
True. With the performance sparked interest in, is Rihanna gonna finally release new music this year? There's been calls for it. A certain someone on this show has been calling for it for some time now. And then in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Rihanna says it would be ridiculous if she doesn't release her 9th album this year in 2023. Now, before we started recording, we had a little side conversation about this, and you said, I believe it when I see it. What do you mean by that?
Bitch already has her money. Like,
what money though? Money? She got no money from the Super Bowl.
Fashion.
Oh,
she's worth $1 billion. She has a fashion line. She has a makeup line. She has music that's bringing him. Like, she doesn't need the album. She doesn't need to tour. Yeah, to ASAP Rocky. They've been married for a while.
Oh, that's that $8 app person, right?
Yes, ASAP Rocky.
No, it's not ASAP. It's not ASAP. It's $8. It's a $.
It's pronounced ASAP. Yes, it's a $, but it's pronounced ASAP.
Anyway. So it's $8 app. Anyway, this is gonna bother me now. This is gonna really bother me.
And do you call her key $, huh?
No, because I don't listen to Key $ Ha.
Did you listen to ASAP Rocky?
I didn't know who he was until they panned over to him and they're like, here's $app. And I was like, who is this person? And then for a second, and this is going to sound really bad, then they were talking about someone called Machine Gun Belly or Jelly.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Okay.
Kelly.
Okay. And then I was like, okay, is this related to Rihanna? And then like, oh, there's cheating rumors about Machine Gun. And I was like, okay, it's like, why are we talking about this? Because I guess there was some controversy during the Super Bowl. And then Adele got in, and the Super Bowl just got a lot of gays pissed off for no apparent reason.
I love that. I love when you discover like very popular Gen Z musical artists because it just brings me delight.
Why?
Like Machine Gun Kelly.
I don't know.
It just brings me delight when you're like, this is Machine Gun Jelly?
He's
Like
married
Belly?
to that Megan girl, right?
They're engaged. Megan Fox. They're allegedly not engaged, but they're still engaged. He got her a ring with thorns in it so she can't take it off, or else it hurts her.
So Rihanna is going to be releasing a ninth studio album potentially this year.
Allegedly. I will believe it when I see it.
Allegedly. I'm not shocked. I don't like if she's worth $1 billion or $1 gazillion. I don't think she needs to do it, but no, she says it's ridiculous. So maybe we might be lucky enough to actually get it. Speaking about a lot of money, I apologize right now. I was reading this morning because I was getting ready for the recording of this. Britney Spears is worth like $1 bajillion now.
Yeah, she's always been.
Really?
Yeah, her family just had control of her money and wouldn't let her have it.
No, is that what the conservatorship was all about? I thought it was about like you had to like do stuff, and I didn't think it was all about money. I thought it was about like.
Oh, they controlled her finance. So a conservatorship it controls your finances, your health, everything about your life is controlled by someone else.
I thought it was because I knew that her dad was part of like her management. Like he was the one who like dictate what she could do and all that. I didn't know it was like they like iron fisted the whole money. I learn a lot from you Gen Zers or millennials.
I'm not Gen Z.
Or boomers. I feel like a boomer half the time when I talk to you because I feel like I'm not educated. Like, where's B. Arthur these days? Besides dead.
Where's B. Arthur? Girl, she died a while ago. Rest her heart.
Okay, well, good for Rihanna if she releases the 9th album, but
I hope we get it and it doesn't go the way of that Aaliyah album. But I think that Aaliyah album was about to be straight disrespectful.
Has it not been released yet?
No.
Wasn't it supposed to come out like January of like 2020?
Like early 2022. Okay. And she ain't around.
I wonder how The Weeknd is suffering from that.
Oh, he also had like a Super Bowl high energy situation, 2 years ago?
That's when he was walking through that like maze of glass, like emotions.
That choice.
That choice is the choice in itself. Continuing on the celebrity news, I want to talk about Iggy Azalea. And I want to talk about the fact that we as the consumer of entertainment news, and I say that in a loose term here, we all have read those gossip magazines, and I can imagine there's a lot of people listening to this or watching this saying, yeah, I've watched or listened to it. But Iggy Azalea is hitting back and saying she's not going to apologize anymore for making money off of her own body on the popular adult website OnlyFans. This begs the question that I've been thinking about over the last 24 hours once I saw this story. Is it is it time for celebrities to start taking back their image and start releasing these things instead of the leaked sex tape, the leaked nude photos that I took on my cell phone, and just start saying, you know what? I'm not apologizing. Here it is. If you want to see it, $5.99, go to OnlyFans.
I mean, that sex tape ruined Pamela Anderson's career.
Did it
before
though?
it even start. Yeah, before it even start, like it really like stunted her ability to get work, and like people only wanted to see her a certain way. Like it really kind of fucked her a little bit. And now people are going, "Oh shit, we're sorry, Pamela Anderson." And I think that back when that happened, like even if she'd been like, "Yeah, that's me and I'm part of this," and blah blah blah, even if like she was like, "I'm super proud," like how Iggy Azalea is doing it, it would have been treated differently. It wouldn't have been treated differently. I think the big thing now, especially with Gen Z and millennial and younger folks being very pro like ownership over your body, pro sexuality, pro sexual expression. I think that it's being really celebrated, and it should be. I mean, fuck it. If she wants to show off her tits, at least get her money for it. Like,
In the
if I
words of
had
Rihanna, bitch better have my money.
bitch better have my money. I mean, uh, it's one of those situations where like if you want to show them off, good. Like get your money for it too. Like if people are willing to pay for it, why not? Why not? And at least she can control as much as OnlyFans allows. I don't know what their situation is, but I'm sure there's some like, oh, you get this much and we get this much of it. I've not looked into that. I'm sure
No.
that there's a breakdown of it, but like,
I should ask my
good for
friend
her.
from Calgary who has an OnlyFans page to see what he would say.
Because I'm sure it's like, I'm sure this might be a wild comparison, and I'm so sorry. Just like Etsy takes a portion of your profit. So I told you it was going to be a wild comparison, but like, it's a good comparison. Like Etsy takes a portion of your profit. I'm sure OnlyFans takes a portion of her profit. So like, good for her. And you know what? Even if she's on there and it's just her eating a cake, people will pay it.
Amen to that. Okay. Let's talk about the second biggest news story that happened in the entertainment world this month. And I think it just happened recently. And it comes from us from across the pond in the motherland of Canada, the London, England BAFTA Awards, the British Arts and Theatre, whatever, Friends of Theatre and all that crap. But Mrs. Ariana
DeBose.
I put Ariana, that's the
Ariana.
She off of her
OOOngela Bassett.
off of her wildly successful opening number at the Tony Awards, I think last year, if not mistaken. She did a rap at the BAFTAs this year. And for those who haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it. And the great thing about this new show is we have a clip because we are sourcing the BAFTAs and we are allowed to use it. So here is Ariana DeBose rapping at the BAFTAs. Have come out and said everyone was having a fun time at the BAFTAs when Ariana was singing. There were reports afterwards that there was a lot of people uncomfortable by this supposed rap. I
was uncomfortable.
So what were your initial thoughts when you were watching this train wreck in slow motion?
First of all, obsessed. I love a train wreck, and it could not have happened to a worse human being.
Is she a bad person now? What happened here? Whoa. Spill the tea, girl.
Girl, she's just got a reputation of being a little bit prickly.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know this.
Brilliant. Love a train wreck. Love watching it occur in front of my very eyes.
She's an Oscar winner, right?
She isn't. She's an Oscar winner, damn it! I need Angela Bassett when she wins her Oscar to go, and in the words of Ariana DeBose, I did the thing.
But it was bad, wild. Right? Like the reactions from the crowd shots were just horrible.
Shoot, Wildin' Out with Nick Cannon. That was full Wildin' Out with Nick Cannon right there.
And from what you had told me prior to recording, the BAFTA said that wasn't us. That was all her. That was them doing what they wanted to do, not us. That was Ariana. That was not the BAFTAs. And
BAFTAs, what the hell? And they were like, yeah, that wasn't us, girl. And then Ariana DeBose deleted her Twitter, and then she's like on
Well,
Instagram being like, I find it funny. Like, sis, do you?
do you? Because you just deleted Twitter and all that fun stuff. So, do you really find it funny, or are we just having a conversation for the sake of having a conversation?
Well, Angela Bassett did the thing.
That's gonna go down in history, is it?
I'm obsessed. I request that's the title of this week's episode.
Angela Bassett did.
Angela. So like OUNHNGELA.
Okay.
Angela.
You have just named this week's episode. Angela Bassett did a thing. So the BAFTAs have also slammed the criticism of Ariana DeBose, saying that it's incredibly, and I'm quoting here, incredibly unfair, and everyone loves it.
I mean, we love it, but for the wrong reasons. Because we are all a terrible human being society, and we love watching a train wreck. I'm gonna be real. Like, yeah, I love it. It's been quoted way too much in my life over the past, 72 hours that it's occurred. I can't stop. Angela Bassett did the thing.
Okay.
Viola Davis, woman king.
My God. Oh my God.
I can't wait for the drag queens to do it as a lip sync.
I can.
And I hope that they pair it with that. Do you remember a couple years ago, Fergie singing the national anthem?
Yes. The
I
really,
want them to
really
pair
long.
Like, I need it paired with that. If there's a drag queen listening, it's like, oh, I can make that work. I would be a very happy, happy human being.
Let's make Michael a very, very happy human being here, people. Let's do it, drag queens. So I want to turn to the news of the movie industry now. And I want to start by prefacing the statement by saying this. Hollywood, get your fucking act together. Okay? Live action remakes are becoming the new thing to do. We have the upcoming live action The Little Mermaid, which we saw the first eyebrows of Melissa McCarthy as Ursula in The Little Mermaid. We have I think it's Zach Galifianakis going to be playing a role in the live action remake of Lilo and Stitch. And now we have the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon, which will be flying into theaters in 2025. Michael, what is going on in Hollywood where they have to make live action remakes of all our favorite movies? Because I can tell you right now, if they destroy Lilo and Stitch, I am not only coming for everyone who is in production of that show, but I'm coming for all the actors as well. And by that, I mean, I'm going to send a strongly worded message on my Twitter that nobody listens to.
I mean, I feel like animation gets shit on a lot and live action doesn't. And so they're trying to like sophisticate some of their older material and trying to maybe recapture an audience with it by mixing it up. Because like Lilo and Stitch was super beloved. So how do we get people to be as interested maybe in it again and tell the story? Let's make it live action, because then we can maybe get attention back on the story. It'll be an opportunity to like rehash old kind of IP.
Is this Disney trying to recapture its mojo? Because it's been going through a funk recently, hasn't it?
Well, Disney's been doing the live action thing for a minute. Like, I'm excited for The Little Mermaid, and I think it opens up like the universe to having like different, like bringing in different people and bringing in different ideas and like maybe using technology that wasn't there when it first was created.
My concern is we saw the live action remake of Mulan, right? And it was universally panned. And I think everyone will agree with that. It did not do well. It did not capture the essence of Mulan, the cartoon. Now, I know Disney might have not been going for the exact like feel of that, and maybe they're changing the way that they're doing live action remakes moving forward with more of the original storytelling and with more of the original sound. But I hope that if they're going to do this, they do it right and they don't try to bring people. Case in point, The Lion King, the live action remake of The Lion King, yet again, universally panned.
They're making a live action Lion King 2, except it's Mufasa.
Exactly, but it's universally panned already that the first Lion King was horrible. Go ahead.
No, I think those two movies that you brought up bring up a really good point. And I think the big issue with Mulan and the big issue with Lion King are two very different kind of conversations of why they didn't work. Like Mulan, we all fell in love with that movie, the music, the characters, the story. And the live action Mulan, the only real character that stayed the same was Mulan.
Yeah.
And people went in going, this is going to be the same songs, this is going to be the same story, but what they
I'll
did
make a man out of you. You were expecting I'll make a man out of you and Mushu. Nothing.
And Reflection. And so with that, but they wanted to bring it, and Disney came forward and they're like, we want this to be more culturally to what the original story was, because this version was, the original movie was kind of like a Americanized version of the story, and like it was a different, like it was done specifically to be this musical thing, whereas they wanted to kind of go back to its origin and be more with the mysticism and the culture. And I didn't love the movie for completely different reasons than we watched it with friends, and all the friends we watched it with, all like 2 or 3 of them, they're like, well, I wanted the music and I wanted the this, and it's like, okay, I respect that that's what you went in thinking you were going to get, and when you didn't get it, it's disappointing. Lion King, they called it live action, but every single one of those animals was CGI'd and had zero facial expression. And it was bad CGI, and that's why I think it didn't work out, despite having a great cast, great singers, the music was there, the story was there. But if you're going to call it live action, it needs to not be 100% CGI characters. Like there's a difference between Little Mermaid live action where, there's no real fucking mermaids out there. Sorry, spoiler alert. But like, you got to have a CGI tail, but it's still her and it's still inherently her. And then when she walks on land, it's going to be her. It's not like a little CGI person the whole movie.
I just hope that they found a sweet spot. Maybe the Little Mermaid's going to rectify the past issues. I really hope so. But they're batting 2 for 2 right now in my realm of live action remakes that I did not ask.
Well, Pinocchio was also terrible.
Which are we talking
the
about
live
the Tom Hanks one?
Terrible. And they keep, I feel like they want to pull from their IP that's not there. They wanted to see how it would go. And I think they've learned what their mistakes were.
Because they're doing a Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs as well, too, aren't they?
With Rachel Zegler, and I love Rachel Zegler.
Yeah. Okay. So they're going back to the beginning,
which they should do. They have a ton of IP that nobody's really watched.
But isn't there movies that you shouldn't remake, though? Isn't there a movie out there? Like, we always say that you should never remake certain movies. Like, I wouldn't, if you talk, what?
Song of the South.
But would you remake The Wizard of Oz? Would you remake what is it? Oh my God, It's a Wonderful Life? Like there's certain movies out there that you do not touch because they're cult classics, right? They are universally renowned for the way that they were made. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is another one. You don't remake things because there's an essence to the original that makes you feel nostalgic, right? Like, okay, Lilo and Stitch came out in 2000, 2000? Hence why they had to do they had to do the re-edit of the plane going through the town because what happened in September. So my concern is if you go too far back, you're going to start remaking things that are universally loved, and you're going to have people like myself who are originalists who are going to get pissed off.
So this is a major topic in theater, specifically professional theater, West End and Broadway. As shows get revived, the first revival was Pajama Game. And the first thing people said is, that's not how theater works. It goes here and then it goes to the regional and then it goes to communities. Why are you bringing something back? We have the original. Why do we need that? And it's not necessary. And like, that's a very good kind of thing of like, why are we bringing it back? And that's how I look at revivals on theater. And with reboots of movies, why are we rebooting it? What's different that we're doing? Are we telling a different story in terms of like, because a lot of times now with Broadway, with revivals, you are seeing like originally all white cast. Now we're going to do it as an all black cast or all Asian, like things like that. Like, what are we doing to maybe change? Like, what's new that we need to retell this story through a different lens? Maybe not necessarily change the script fully. We do need to change the script, or else you get the Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn, which was shot for shot, and it didn't work for that reason because it was not original. And so how can we take this and how can we adapt it and reinvent it so that it is maybe for a new audience told through a different lens? Because like, I don't hate that we remade West Side Story. And I think telling West Side Story and actually casting Latinx folks in that movie, which wasn't necessarily happening. Maria was a little white girl in the original movie. I don't hate that idea. And so I think that with remaking movies, what are we doing different? And what are we doing to make it feel like it's still in the same realm of the movie, but maybe new? So like Wizard of Oz, I would be okay with a Wizard of Oz remake, but Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite movies. Like, grew up watching it, it was the second musical I ever did when I was like 11 years old. Like, Wizard of Oz has a very special place in my heart. I actually have art on my wall that is Dorothy the Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow, like in like sketch. Like, I'm a huge fan of Wizard of Oz. I would be okay with it depending on what was being done. Like, are we doing a shot-for-shot remake? No. Are we doing something kind of new, unique and groundbreaking? That I would be interested in seeing. Yeah. And I mean, you also can take things like The Wiz, which is the Wizard of Oz told through a black lens with new music, new, etc. It's still the same book adapted, but it's a new kind of fresh take on it, completely original. And especially when you're adapting a specific source material, I think that getting more movies off of that specific source material isn't the worst idea either. And changing it up and make, because then you have more.
I think originality is dead, though. Originality is dead, though, isn't it, in Hollywood today? Because everything seems to be a shot-for-shot remake. Like, even look at Avatar. Avatar originally came out. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's so amazing!" And then people were like, "No, it's literally Pocahontas, shot for shot, not shot for shot, but it's a retelling of a story of Pocahontas, or a retelling of a story of Fern Gully." And people were like, "Oh yeah, you're right." And the originality that Hollywood was in the 80s and 90s is gone, I think. And I might be speaking out of turn here by saying this, but I hope there's someone coming up that says, okay, enough's enough. Let's start doing some original things here and actually start telling some original stories instead of just remaking everything. And I think that's where my big issue with this whole remake of things is, where's the originality? I've not seen a good original movie come out of Hollywood in some time.
Well, what do you dignify as original? Like, what about an adapted movie? Because Women Talking is adapted from a book.
No, and that's that's original. What I mean. That I'm okay with. But if you're literally ripping off a movie that has already come out and making a retelling of a story of that movie, or of a movie based on a book, that's where I get a little hesitant on. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things going on, like the DC universe. The DC universe is horrible right now, and I think James Gunn is going to flop the hell out of the DC universe with his new Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, all that shit. I think it's time that we just put things down and say, okay, enough's enough. If no one's touched this book, if no one's touched this short story, let's tell that story on the movie screen. Let's not pick a movie that was made in the 80s that's based on a book from the 30s and say, okay, let's try and remake this movie better, because that's what Hollywood is. That's their safe spot. Let's get outside the box and start telling some of the great stories that are out there. You and I are reading a lot of books right now, and there's a lot of books right now that could be made into great movies or great Hollywood productions. It's just Hollywood doesn't want to do that because they're too afraid to rock the boat in some sense.
I don't know if it's necessarily that. I think it's easy to make a bad movie. It's
Sometimes
easier to make
good.
It's easier to make a bad original movie. And that's kind of when you're looking, and when Hollywood's looking at it and they're like, okay, what do we want to do? Okay, we can look at a remake or even an adaptation. Because this is, again, another conversation that's happening in the theater world of why are we seeing so many adaptations? Why aren't we getting fresh, fully original ideas that aren't anywhere else? It's because when you make something, it's so easy to have a bad original piece of work. And when you look at it, and an adaptation can be bad, but even some of the worst adaptations based on great material have good bones. So like they might not be great, but they in many ways don't flop as hard as an original work. And so like, because people are going to still
risks, go right. I think you just have to take a risk. I think Hollywood
sure, but when you're gambling with millions and millions and billions of dollars and
then they can go make another Iron Man movie and make $1 billion off of that and just recoup the costs. Jokingly, like I know that
yes and no. I mean, the movie industry as we know it is dying. Like,
I think
Top
it's dead.
Gun.
I think it's dead. I think the movie industry as we knew it when before the pandemic, I think the pandemic has ruined the movie industry. No one wants to go to a movie theater anymore. They are not going for the traditional, like you went to go see The Whale at the movie theaters. Understandable, completely understandable. I could not sit in a movie theater if my life depended on it, even if for the blockbusters. And that's what most people go for is the blockbusters. I want to go see Avengers. I want to go see Superman. I want to go see Top Gun Maverick. I don't want to go see Talking Women at the movie theaters.
And I mean, Top Gun really kind of prolonged Top Gun saved movie theaters because people came out to see it. Because like you said, people want to go spend $25, $30 a ticket and then $20, $30 buying soda and popcorn and candy, etc. on a big blockbuster. Like I just saw Ant-Man on Monday. Like I enjoyed seeing that. Like that's what I want to see. I enjoyed seeing The Whale in theaters. It's because it's literally the only place I was able to find it. I enjoyed seeing it, but like indie films in the theaters, a lot of times it's an experience that you don't want to necessarily pay 20 or 30 bucks to go do. And I think that, and this is again, touching lightly on the Oscars, which is a conversation we'll have when we do it more fully, but like the Oscars as a whole might want to start shifting a teeny bit away from indie films. Like, yeah, indie films sometimes have the better acting performances, but it's not what's bringing people in. It's not what's saving the movie industry. And like, you can look at like Top Gun. If it wins Best Picture, honestly, good for it. Like, it really did kind of save the industry a teeny bit.
The way that the Oscars are going this year, it might actually just do that. But
well, it's currently not counted out of any of its categories.
Really?
Yeah, people are like, this has a good shot at every single category it's in.
Shocker. So we are coming up to the hour mark, and I want to turn to the very last segment, and that is what's coming up. What are you watching? What's new? What's on your horizons? I know we're going to be talking about the Oscars not next week, but the week after. But what else have you been doing? Have you read any good books lately? Seen any good TV shows in the last month?
I sat down and read what's it called? Where the Crawdads Sing. I really liked the book. I liked the movie a lot. I liked the book a lot better, which is usually the case. I read the sequel to Court of Roses and Thorns, and let me tell you, chapter 55 was wild.
Sarah J. Maas does a really good job. She's a really good author.
She was pornographic. And then I'm currently reading, because this month I've been so focused on watching the 54 Oscar movies. And so I'm only on book 3. I started You, which is what the TV show was adapted from. And then in TV shows, I watched the new season, or the new first half of the new season of You, which I enjoyed. It's getting a lot of shit and I don't appreciate it because y'all are toxic. Sitting here going, God, Love Quinn was perfect for him. No. We're not about to celebrate toxicity in this house. I'm liking it.
The House of OOOngela.
OOOngela Bassett did the thing.
Yeah,
so it's been a lot of Oscar shit.
It's been a lot of Oscar things, and we will, once we get to our April show, we will have a little bit more news, hopefully by that time. But for me, I really have been reading a lot. A friend of mine. Okay. I'm gonna call this out on the show because I know this person listens to me. Thank you for buying me the book. Much appreciated for buying me the James Islington book. The issue, though, and I told you this to your face, so this is not talking out of turn. Don't buy somebody a book that is the third in a series of books. Okay? I'm going to be blunt here. If you're going to buy something for somebody, especially if it's a book, make sure it's the first book. Unless the person already has the first book, then buy the second book. Don't just assume that the person has the 2 books before the third book that you're buying them. And then when the person has to go buy the book, which he did today, had to pay $120 for 2 books, which was not a very happy camper for Chris Brown. So I've been reading.
Girl, you're going to get hate mail. You're going to get so much hate mail for this whole conversation. I'm already like composing my own hate mail letter here.
Girl, I've already got hate mail from the first one because I'm Chris Brown and I didn't talk about Rihanna and I should not be saying that. Anyway, but we talked about Rihanna today. So there you go, guys. Chris Brown talked about Rihanna. Stop the presses. It's all good.
I love Rihanna.
Oh, don't we all? Shut Up and Drive. Umbrella. Singing in the Rain. I don't know any of her other songs. SOS. That
S&M. That is another one. SOS.
The one that she sings with Eminem.
Love the Way You Lie.
There you go. See, I know Rihanna. I'm hip with the youngins. And for TV, I haven't been watching much. There really hasn't been much out lately, to be honest. Oh, last night, actually, that's untrue. I actually did watch a show. I watched Archie last night. Archie returned to Riverdale. The 1990 made for NBC Saturday morning television with the one of the best acting I have ever seen by the father who played Reba's ex-husband in the TV show Reba. I forget his name right now, but it was spectacularly bad, but good at the same time. Highly recommended if you have the app Tubi. Download it. It's a free app, so you can go watch it, and I highly recommend it. And then I also watched the documentary that came out early in 2000, Nintendo Quest, where a London, Ontario man went across Canada and the United States trying to find all 738 originally domestically released Nintendo NES, the original NES games, and he was able to do it after spending a crap load of money. One of the games, which almost, I guarantee you, probably cost him more than $4,000 American, and I would not do that, but good on him. So that's what I've been watching. And I've been watching Super Sentai, the remake, the original Japanese version of Power Rangers, which is so much better than the 1993, 1995 Power Rangers. Oh, so much better.
Christopher Rich.
That's the gentleman's name. Yeah. Wow. Jump in while I'm talking. Wow. Okay. So, besides us coming back on the 10th of March with our complete, and it's probably going to be a long episode, so stick in with us, because we are going to go through every category and give our predictions on who is going to win, and we're going to see who wins on Sunday, March whatever it is, for 12th for the Oscars. So tune in on March 10th at 12 o'clock Mountain Standard Time for another great episode of No, Not Them. So again, this has been Michael Nichols, who is a theater actor, singer, and entertainment critic from upstate New York, and Chris Brown, who's a podcast host from Alberta, Canada, who recently saw the movie A Quiet Place and thought there was too much dialogue. Until next month, actually until 2 weeks from now. Remember, guys, this is No, Not Them.